everyone, and welcome to Books in the World. Books in the World is a production of the Cape Cod Writers Center, and the goal of Books in the World is to give authors, illustrators, photographers, in our case today, and others an opportunity to showcase their works. It covers the gamut of the publishing industry. Today, before I introduce our guest, who introduce Mark Chester, photographer. Hello, I just did want to say that the Cape Cod Writers Center started on the Cape over 50 years ago and has a summer conference every August. And this year, the conference will be virtual. And as these interviews are virtual, so please go to our website and see the offerings. We have some very good professors, writers, agents to coach you, to enlighten you. And if you're a writer, you can't find a better writers conference anywhere around. So that's my pitch and my passion to talk about the Writers Center. But let me introduce Mark Chester. Hi, Mark. How are you?
Hi, Madeline. You know, I've gone to the center years ago, and I found it so helpful.
Oh, good. I'm so glad to hear that, because you have some beautiful books and you've done a variety of types of work. And I'm glad that it has enough variety for everyone. So we know that Mark is, he has a whimsy. I think you're going to be entertained and delighted.
Don't.
Well, someone said about you, Mark Chester documents humanity in black and white with well-judged comic timing. So I think you're going to see a little bit.
My mother, I think she said that.
Your mother said that. So you've been a professional photographer since 1972. Is that correct? Something
well,
like
you know,
that?
Yeah, and I always question, what does it mean by professional? I suppose if you generate some revenue by what you do, then you're professional. I mean, it's my lifestyle, really.
Okay, well, you're going to talk about that because some of your books, I think, came together as a result of your lifestyle. But you did have a rather formal job, I have in your bio here. You were director of photography and staff photographer at ASCAP, which is the American Society of Composers, Authors, and Publishers in New York City. So you had a real job at one point.
I had a real job, and that real job came in 1969 when the New York Times was advertising. And do you remember when it said, "I got my job through the New York Times"? Well,
almost.
I saw an ad in the paper in the wanted for. It said junior PR person, knowledge of music a must.
Oh goodness! Well,
and it was through an agency, and I answered it, and I touted my own horn.
Okay. Well, you've been many places since then. I don't think we're going to go over your biography, because I do want to introduce, or have you introduce, the project that you and I have been talking about, Bay State, a multicultural landscape, photographs of new Americans. And before we run a short video about that project, would you introduce the listeners to it, please?
Well, the project is basically photographing foreign-born residents of Massachusetts who have become naturalized citizens. And every 10 years, a census comes out, and in the statistics, it will show you for each city a breakdown of ethnicities. And I thought that was very interesting. And Governor Patrick at the time was talking about how there's 15% of the foreign, there are 15% of the population who are foreign born here in Massachusetts. So it struck me. And it turned out that, and I forgot that I'm first generation. So my father and his parents came from Russia, Belarus.
Okay.
So there's a personal connection, but it's also something that I'm interested in doing, because I've always wanted to travel the world and meet people from different countries. And now I'm not traveling the world, I'm traveling the state, going
Yeah.
around.
Yeah. Well, I love it because I have come from an Italian background. All four of my grandparents are Italian. They went to New York, not to Boston. But I have a lot of affinity with the whole subject of immigration and multicultural life and keeping close to your roots, understanding your roots. So this project fits right into the diversity discussions that we're having today in the news. So why don't we watch the video and then we'll talk about it a little more.
I'm a son of a gun. Actually, I'm a son of an immigrant. My father was born in Russia. But I inherited his rooting for the person who spoke with an accent, for the underdog. Hi, I'm Mark Chester, photographer, and I'm making portraits of residents in the Bay State to celebrate cultural diversity. So far, there are 400 people in the book. They are foreign-born men, women, married couples, and families from 185 countries and territories. Massachusetts is a mini United Nations. The participants are from all walks of life. They live in all four corners of the Commonwealth. They are professionals, artists, musicians, entrepreneurs, and working people. They are new American citizens from Europe, South America, Africa, Asia, the Middle East, the Caribbean, and the South Pacific Islands. They enrich our lives every day. I met people at their naturalization ceremonies in Boston, Worcester, Springfield, Fitchburg, and Cape Cod. I met them at universities, hospitals, through consulates and embassies, and community organizations. People introduced me to their friends from other countries. I met people working in hotels, restaurants, at the airport, train station, the bus depot, even in taxis. This is their project just as it is mine. They have chosen their own photograph of themselves that they want included in the book and exhibitions. A selection of photographs is on display through 2017 and beyond for public viewing at municipal buildings, museums, art centers, schools and colleges, and libraries throughout the state. The exhibitions will bring awareness to our cultural diversity and bring immigration into focus. The production of 3,500 books will be donated to the portrait subjects themselves, to schools and libraries in support of the mission of MIRA. Thank you for your attention. I hope you will contribute.
Okay, so I think that really showed what this project is about, Mark. Do you want to talk about is it finished? What's the ongoing work involved?
Well, yeah, the contents are pretty much finished, and the design is finished, and it's really ready to go to print, I would say, in the next month or two. where we tweak it all, the contents and the type and so forth. And the photographs, there are about 478 pages, and it shows people, foreign-born people from Afghanistan to Zimbabwe. But I'm missing some countries because I just haven't connected with anybody from Papua New Guinea or the Seychelles or the Maldives. So these are island nations basically, and I haven't met anybody.
Okay, well, perhaps you will. You are currently exhibiting the photographs locally in, well, not locally to the Cape, but in Milford, Massachusetts.
At the library through April 30th, and the library. So Milford has a large ethnic population, and so they can. I suppose it resonates with them. The project resonates, as really do all cities here in Massachusetts. There are 351 cities.
My goodness.
So I'm trying to take the exhibition, a selection of photographs, to hang in the libraries in all these cities. So we've been doing this since 2015, and there maybe are about 100 locations, venues.
My goodness. Well, before we leave this project and go on to some other topics, I'd like to show a picture of Ivan, who is one of the technical guys at the Cape Cod Community TV station, and Ivan is from Suriname. So that'll be up on the screen. And
I give you a backstory of that if you'd like.
Yeah, do, please.
So Suriname is in South America. It used to be, it was a Dutch colony, and it became independent. The name was changed to Suriname, and it's right on the coast of South America, the tip of northeast South America. And I get the list of countries of applicants that are going to be naturalized that day from the USCIS, that's Homeland Security, naturalization ceremonies people. And Suriname was on it, and I didn't know where it was, but I didn't have it. And I literally walked around calling out Suriname, anyone here from Suriname, to connect with this person. And this was in the Seaport Trade Center, which houses, I don't know if you know the size of it, but it houses 5,000 people.
5,000?
5,000 people.
Wow.
That includes the guests of the applicants. So, you might have 3,000 and 2,000 or whatever. So I'm literally walking down the aisle, and there's a cutoff point where there are the guests and then the applicants. So I went to the guests first, figuring. And this woman raised her hand and introduced herself. And she said, my husband is from Suriname. He's up there. And she came over and introduced me to Ivan. You can talk to Ivan about this. I'm sure he remembers it. And he lived on the Cape, and I from the Cape. I said, "How, my goodness, it was destiny, I think."
That's good.
So then we met. We made arrangements to meet, and I photographed him in the studio there. And his sons were there, and they were born in Saint Martin.
Okay.
So they're in the book too.
Okay, I didn't realize that. Well, I have to go back and look through it. So I'd like to talk about your book, Twosomes, now. And you can comment about that picture or tell us about how this book came about, or both.
Well, everything's related. And it's if you do the chronology of what I've done, Twosomes really came before the project that I'm doing now. Twosomes is really an archive of photographs taken over 40 years. And I just went through them and came up with pairing them, putting them on facing pages that they were related to each other in some way. And I mean, it's subjective. I mean, this is the way I saw how the photographs are related. And a viewer might see them differently. But the cover it's a man in Rio at the Ipanema Beach, and they have these telephone booths that look like a cocoon. And so he's in the telephone, and then I have a picture of a pig actually in a pail eating. And so just the idea of people immersed, or the subject immersed in something like a pail. So that's the cover.
Well, I see backsides also, which
Oh.
I don't know if you were seeing them when you took the picture, but the relationship is funny to me, very whimsical. So the next one we're going to look at is the winter bus stop with the trees on one side and the people at the bus stop on the other side.
The women are huddled, waiting at the bus stop. And this was in Rockefeller Center in the 1980s. I was in New York, visiting New York, and it was quite a blizzard. And I was out, and these women were there, and I just loved the way the snow fell on their shoulders, and they all were wearing head kerchiefs. And then, so the trees, I saw the trees, that's actually taken on the Cape in Bourne somewhere, I think. And I just took the picture. I mean, I didn't take pictures to match pictures. These were just pictures that were in my files. So, but I just like the way the burlap was on the trees. I think they're cedar trees. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, there's something, the relationships are quite amazing. And as I think we've talked about this, that I might see things in the relationships that other people might not see, or that you didn't even think about when you paired them. The next one that we're going to look at, for example, the hearts and the turkeys. We were talking about this when we talked earlier. I see turkeys kind of in an amorous position in relationship to each other. And then you have the hearts. And then we saw some other things. Do you have any thoughts about this pairing?
Well, I think I took the turkeys first. It's in north of San Francisco. I was living in the Bay Area, and it's rural up in this area. And I went to visit this turkey farm. And these two turkeys just were having a chat, I guess. They were talking turkey, so to speak. And just the way that they were positioned themselves, it struck me as funny. And then the heart. So that's a Jim Dine sculpture at the Cordova Museum in Lincoln, Massachusetts. So that's on loan, I believe, but it was a snowy day, and just the way the snow fell on the hearts, it just kind of made it stand out more. It's just a mood shot.
Well, I think it's very whimsical that you chose to pair the things that you did pair. And then the next picture is totally funny, is about the dog walkers and the car dog walker.
Yeah, the fellow in the Porsche walking the dog while he's driving a Doberman. So you have a Doberman pinscher and you have a Porsche car. I don't know if he is from Germany or not, but that was one of the first pictures I took when I moved to San Francisco in 1975 or 76. This was at Julius Kahn Park. It's a wonderful park near the Presidio in San Francisco, and they have a basketball court, and I used to play basketball there a lot. And then they have, it's just pretty. And I saw this guy. I'm glad he was doing it slowly. Otherwise, I wouldn't have gotten the shot. So that's compared. And then I saw this woman when I was in New York. That's at Gramercy Park, and she's a dog walker. Or no, actually, I think they were her dogs. And there are 6 dogs.
Those are so cute. So have you ever put up an exhibit of these pictures in a library or a gallery?
As a matter of fact, they are hanging in the Cape Cod Health Rehabilitation Center on Addicks Lane. And there are about 40 pairings that are around the facility.
Okay.
So they've been up there for a couple of years now.
Yeah, that's a good thing. And it's amusing. It's lighthearted. I like that.
Yeah.
So speaking of lighthearted, I have a couple of things. I wanted to talk about what you're up to lately. And you have a column in the Falmouth Enterprise,
It
which
just started. That's the first one. It's called a kicker, which I learned not long ago that the editor of the entertainment section, arts and entertainment section, I contacted her and had these two stories. It's a column that it used to be called Photographer's Notes, and it was published in the Falmouth Bulletin, which is a weekly. And I was doing that for a long time, and then they stopped publishing freelancers. So then I introduced the idea to the Enterprise, and so they ran that one, the shoe.
so the shoes, and it's called See What I Mean.
Oh, so See What I Mean is it's a takeoff of hear what I'm saying, I guess. But as a photographer, you know, what do these pictures mean?
Yeah.
So it's that kind of
I
association.
love it. It's do you see what I see, and do you see what I mean by seeing this? And then you have the whole column, which describes how and why you took that picture, for one thing. Go on and talk about the column, please.
Yeah. So when I was doing it for the bulletin, it was similar to that, and then Joanne suggested these 4 topics, and thought that would be good. So I've been following her advice on that.
You talk about why you took this picture and where you saw it, which gives the photographers who are reading your notes or your column some information about how you framed it and why you framed it that way. And then after that, you go into a lot of anecdotal information about the shoe industry and why the shoe industry is important to you. And it was a riot. I thought, you know, it's a photography column, but it was so well constructed for a writer.
Great.
I thought it was a good, almost like you could outline an essay around what you did, why I did what I did, how I did what I did. And guess what? This also means a lot of other things. So now I gave you the whole story.
Well, no, I appreciate that, because you don't get feedback. You know, how many times does somebody who writes a column or do something get feedback? So I don't get a lot of feedback. So I appreciate that. I'm a photographer first. I mean, I see things and then the idea kind of comes to mind and I just let it steep a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's a riff, really. And one more thing.
Yeah.
Can be about anything, the history of the subject. So I'm looking for a subject. The photograph tells you the subject. And then I try to find out history about that particular subject. Like the next one coming up, I forgot what it is, but you'll see.
Okay. And again, you took the pictures from your own archives. You didn't necessarily go out and take a new picture just to write a column.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
It's the photographs, and that's how I've been doing the very first book, which we didn't mention because that really started everything off. That was Dateline America by Charles Kuralt.
Okay.
And I was given his essays, and I had to come up with a photograph that complemented his essay. So it was a means of interpolating his essay to find a photograph. So words and photographs, they're all related.
Yeah.
And for me, a photograph helps me to write, whereas maybe, words for others make them see differently. I don't know.
Okay. So when you said the Charles Kuralt project started you off, was that on the Twosomes or on the Bay State project?
Well, no, that was the first one. The Dayline America.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that was 1978. So that came first, and then Twosomes, and then after Dayline America came No in America, and those were photographs of signs that said no.
Oh,
And
okay.
then Twosomes, and now the Bay State.
So we still have a few minutes. Can we talk about the two things? One is the Insight Juried Art Show that's going on now. What is the art show all about, and where can we see it?
It's at the Cape Cod Museum of Art through June 20th. And it's called Insight, INSIGHT, but it can be interpreted as Insight, like INCITE, or Insight, 2 words. So I thought it was an interesting subject, and it was open to your interpretation. So I had a photograph for each one, for each spelling of Insight, and so this one was selected. The man with the opera glasses. It was chosen. I categorized it as Insight, like you're looking through binoculars and it's in sight in your.
Okay.
So that was my interpretation. So that was taken in 1974. I was assigned to a photograph Frank Sinatra's concert in Long Island. And I'm sitting in my seat. I'm just checking out the scene, scoping everything. And the concert hasn't started yet. And I turn around, and this man, just what that picture was what I saw. And I just kind of instinctively clicked the button. And that was the only shot. That was the last shot on the roll of film.
Oh my goodness. So what was he looking for? Was he looking for Frank? Oh, you don't know. Frank Sinatra wasn't on yet.
I don't know. I don't know. It's a good question.
And it goes along with Insight. Do we have insight about what he was looking for? So
he had insight. Maybe he had insight.
Well, we have. We could talk about more things and show more pictures, but I think we are going to have to wrap up for now. And I want to urge everybody to go to Mark Chester Photography. Tell me your website. MarkChesterPhotography.com, and you can see more of the pictures. Go to the Cape Cod Museum of Art until June 20th, I think we said. We did. I guess they have some COVID restrictions, but most likely they have enough space there to keep it open and let a number of people in at one time. It's a gem for Cape Cod to have such a museum, and I think it's an honor to get your work there, don't you think?
Yeah, I'm very happy that somebody liked it.
Well, speaking of COVID, you and I have tried to have this interview a number of times already, and I'm delighted that we finally had a chance to record and to show some of your pictures. And I want to urge everybody to look for Mark's work and books, and come back for Books in the World. And we're very happy always to bring you some talented people from the Cape and elsewhere. So thanks again, Mark, and be well, and keep shooting pictures.
Thank you
so much.